Hola clase, esta lección es de capítulo 7, la primera parte, gramática, página 306, y se llama el presente y el presente perfecto del subjuntivo con expresiones de duda. Aquí dice, to express doubt, uncertainty, or disbelief about actions in the present, you use the present subjunctive. To express doubt, uncertainty, or disbelief about actions in the past, you use the present perfect subjunctive. Recall that the present perfect subjunctive is formed with the present subjunctive of a bear and a past participle. In contrast, expressions of belief, knowledge, or certainty are usually followed by the indicative. That's a lot of information. I'd like to organize it in a chart. So we're going to decide when to use the subjunctive or in the indicative, both in the present and the past, by the meaning of the sentence. If the first part of the sentence expresses doubt, uncertainty, let me spell it right, or disbelief, we're going to use the subjunctive tense. However, if the first part of the sentence expresses belief, knowledge, or certainty, we're going to use the indicative. Now, let's look at some specific examples. For expressions that express doubt, uncertainty, or disbelief, you might see an example that looks like the following. Dudo que. Es posible que. Por favor. Es dudoso que. También, no creo que. O es imposible que. So all of these are expressions that show doubt or uncertainty or disbelief. Dudo que, doubt. Es posible que, uncertainty. Es dudoso que, uncertainty. No creo que, disbelief. Es imposible que, disbelief. In contrast, some expressions that show belief or knowledge or certainty could be things like creo que, belief, I believe that. Estoy segura que, I'm sure that. So that's belief or certainty. Es evidente que, it's evident that. So that's showing certainty. Es verdad que, so that's belief, because I believe it to be true. Sabemos que, we know that, so that's knowledge. No dudo que. This one's probably the weirdest because it says I don't doubt that. So that's actually expressing certainty, whereas the phrase dudo que is the opposite, it's expressing doubt. Now the other piece to this puzzle is when to use the present subjunctive versus the past subjunctive, which is actually called the present perfect subjunctive. So with the present subjunctive, you might see a phrase something like dudo que existan los extraterrestres, which just means I doubt that extraterrestrials exist. But if I want to say I doubt something, or I am uncertain about something, or I disbelieve something in the past, then the second part of the sentence won't be in the present subjunctive, it'll be in the present perfect subjunctive. Now, if I were to have named this tense, I probably would have called it the subjunctive in the past. Here's an example. Dudo que los extraterrestres hayan existido. So it's pretty much the same thought as before, except for I changed the second part of the sentence to the past. So instead of saying, I doubt that extraterrestrials exist, I'm saying, I doubt that extraterrestrials had existed in the past. Now we can contrast this with the present indicative. With the present indicative, we might see a sentence like, creo que los extraterrestres existen. And now, I've started with a sentence that was showing belief, so that means that here, I have to conjugate in the present indicative, existen, instead of the present subjunctive, which is existan. If you're having a hard time determining which tense is which, let me do a quick review for you. I'm not going to go over what the present indicative is. Just remember that it's o, as, a, amos, an for AR verbs, o, es, e, hemos, en for ER verbs, and so on. This is a tense that you learned in Spanish 1, and then you continue to learn for the first part of Spanish 2. These two tenses we learned this year, so I can show you really quick where to find those in the book if you just don't remember where they are. Starting with the present subjunctive. Página 132, el presente del subjuntivo, verbos regulares. The basic steps were drop the O ending to the yo form of the present tense, and then add the present subjunctive endings. We referred to these endings as the opposite vowel. Kargarzar applies, C to QU, G to GU, Z to C. También hay 6 irregulares, dar, estar, haber, ir, saber, ser. Y son de, esté, haya, vaya, sepa, sea. Necesitan memorizar estos 6. Y en página 137 hablamos de verbos con cambio de raíz en el subjuntivo. U to UE, E to IE, for both AR verbs and ER verbs. Other verbs that do the same pattern. And stem changing IR verbs, E to IE, E to I, O to UE. Other verbs that follow the same pattern. Eso es página 137. The other tense that I was referring to, the present perfect subjunctive, if you can't remember how to conjugate that, you can check back with página 227. This verb form, we simply take the present subjunctive of the verb haber plus a participle, hado and ido, plus the irregular past participles, if you need to review, 214 to 217, or your favorite canción. So clase, that was, in my own words, this grammar lesson in the first half of chapter 7, present and present perfect subjunctive with expressions of doubt, uncertainty, and disbelief, and then how to compare and contrast that with expressions of belief, knowledge, or certainty, which is when we would use the indicative. And we'll practice this more in context in class tomorrow.